So we've got a 1982 Honda CR125 here. Now, those of you that know will know that the early Honda CRs came with magnesium clutch covers, and this one is the same. So it's water cooled, so often people fill these things up with water instead of coolant, and the water corrodes the magnesium, causes a bit of a problem. So first thing I mean it doesn't look amazing, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just drop a little bit of oil out and see if it's emulsified. I'm not proposing to be taking the water pump cover off. That will be, no matter what the state of it, that will be a job for whoever buys the bike, really. Oh, not emulsified. Oil looks good. So that's a very, very good sign. So what I'm going to do now is I'm now going to drop some of the water out. You can't see the water at the top. The radiators, the filler is directly behind the headstock, so you can't actually see how much water is in it. So I'm just going to say that's the drain bolt there. So let's it's difficult to do this while you're holding the camera, but it's better for you to see if you're interested in buying the bike. So the big question is there any water in it? The gearbox isn't full, and obviously the oil wasn't emulsified, so there's either going to be no water in this. There's a bit, it does look like coolant. There we go, it's caused a vacuum. So there is water, well, there's coolant in there, and there is oil in the gearbox, so whatever has gone on, definitely coolant, not water. Whatever has gone on with the water pump in the past, I would suggest it does need to be investigated, but it looks like whatever they've done has sealed the water pump from the gearbox, so that's a good sign. It just gives you a bit of confidence about the bike, really. So I'll just put this camera down now, and I'll get on with setting up the rest of my checks. So I'll check the carb. I've already checked that it sparks, actually. Let's see if I can show you that. So it's sparking. You should have been able to see that. And the kill switch does work. So then I'll do my normal stuff, and I'll check the carb, like I say, and then we'll do the rest of the video. So I've just taken the bottom off the carb, and it's not the cleanest carb I've ever seen, but it's definitely not the worst. All the jets are clear, but what I've noticed is they must have, the gasket mustn't have been sealing, so they've sealed it with some like silicone or something like that, instant gasket or whatever. So I'm going to leave that as it is, because I haven't got a new gasket for it. But the carb will need a replacement gasket and a good, well, everything needs to be gone through, really, but yeah, a good clean out just to make sure it's bang on. Here we've got a 1982 Honda CR125. Absolutely cracking bike if you want to run in the pre-83 125 class, which is a mega popular class, and obviously this will be a nicely competitive bike for that, being quite late. So I've already done a couple of little videos of this bike. Normally I don't do those videos, but I thought it worthwhile pointing out the magnesium clutch cover, which seems to be holding the water in, and also the bit about the carb as well. Other than that, overall she looks like quite a quite a nice bike. Obviously someone's tried to do a bit of restoration work, so they've scraped the tank and not polished it. They've painted these plastics. So I mean, these look like the originals. This one definitely does. And that one does as well. This is an aftermarket, possibly a DC plastic rear mudguard. And then it looks like things like the swing arm. Oh yeah, so they've painted bits and pieces. They've got overspray everywhere. But overall, as a bike to restore and restore to race, I would say that this will be a very, very, very good candidate. The forks look good. They've had the gaiters on the whole time, so I would assume there's no dings in there. We've already looked at the magnesium clutch cover. The wheels, both wheels look straight, original. Spokes look good. Better go up the front mudguard as well, scraping that and painting it and this, that and the other, whatever. Like I say, those wheels look great. The front drum looks good. The front pipe, I thought I'd seen a couple of little dents. There's a little bit of disform in there, but nothing major. It's got its general shape and it's not actually dented. Slight dent in here, very, very slight dent. You won't be able to see it on the camera, I'm sure. DG rear silencer. This rear wheel is looking good. That's the magnesium cover I was talking about. So the magnesium always goes this white colour when it's been in the container. But the issue with these is if it's corroded through from someone having water in it. We've already looked. It's got coolant in it. That doesn't mean it's had coolant in all its life, obviously. But it appears that the water hasn't gone through to the gearbox. So the gearbox oil was clear, not emulsified. So that's looking pretty good. The shock, I think, needs a rebuild. I'll double check that shortly. The carb was pretty clean. The jets were clean, although we identified that someone had obviously had leaking gasket, float bowl gasket, and so they'd sealed that up with silicone, which obviously isn't ideal. So I would say a carb rebuild kit. I mean, the bike's going to need to be gone through anyway, but she sparks, she's got compression, she turns over, the gearbox oil doesn't seem to be contaminated with water, she's got first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth and sixth, back down to fifth, fourth, third, second and first, and then back into neutral. So that's looking good. Let's see if we can get her started, eh? That's what I said I'd do, the rear shock. So yeah, as I thought, the rear shock, it's got no oil in it, so the seal head has leaked. The oil has come out of it, and so it's just acting on the spring. There's no actual damping in there. Let's stick a bit of fuel in it, see if we can get her started, and then get her up for sale. I've just given her 3 kicks and she fired up. She's a little bit noisy at the back end, so I'm assuming that, that'll be why she's noisy at the back end. Let's see why she's noisy at the back end. The silencer isn't attached. They've obviously tried to put some silicone or something in like that to seal, silicone pipe to seal between the actual the expansion pipe and the silencer, but they're now not attached. So that's why she's a little bit rattly or a little bit noisy. You'll hear what I mean when I start it up. But she did sound very nice actually. Once you revved her, she sounded really good. So I'll just do that for you. Here we go. Silencer not being connected, and I've just noticed that the actual expansion pipe, the expansion chamber, is not bolted up at the front. She sounds good, so she started well. She sounds good. She's got all the gears. I don't think the water pump's leaking. I would strongly advise you to check that once you've bought it though. Go through that and see what you can do. And needs a rear shock servicing, but overall an absolutely cracking pre-83 125 class bike, this 82 CR125. I'm sure that if this is the kind of thing you're looking for, you will not be disappointed at all. A few bits of jobs to do, but mega bike.